This book is full of information about the world of spies. It came out in 2016. Let's take a glimpse of some important pages from it. It will bring you closer to the espionage and the molds they work with. One of the things you've no doubt noticed someday is that when you start talking about spies and their world, your ears perk up, your minds focus, your eyes widen, and the letters of astonishment appear on your faces. This is because the world of espionage, spycraft, and intelligence is a world full of excitement, mystery, and the images surrounding it hide tons of secrets and unleash in the human imagination bridges of eagerness to know the secrets. This is a world whose mysteries are not solved by just anyone, of course. We are talking here about intelligence operations that contain the secrets of some states, either in times of war or peace. As for the arts of espionage and spying, they are not secret arts as some people portray them. Today it is a known science with its own rules, methods, system, and fundamentals. However, knowing the science is one thing, and practicing its art is another. Just like chess, for example, it's easy to high level. Every chess player knows the rules of the game, but there are those who play it in a cafe at the end of the alley, and there are those who play it in the World Championship. The arts of espionage and spying were not created overnight. They are an experience of accumulated years, which we can say amount to thousands of years without us exaggerating in our pride. In almost every war or era that passed, espionage was used as a main weapon to transfer information and secrets of the enemy, to greatly reduce the possibilities of surprises, and at the same time increase the ability to deceive the enemy and deal him blows that bring him down to the ground. The art of espionage and spying is always developing rapidly. Information in it has great value, and they find the finest details that may seem superficial and trivial to an ordinary person. The plane landed at the nearest airport, where intelligence men were waiting for him, holding his account secretly. They took him to a hospital and put him in a small operating room. They saved him. The intelligence men opened that briefcase, photographed all the documents and secret plans inside it, then closed it as it was before our friend woke up and found the briefcase still tied to his hand. Information is the cornerstone and foundation for intelligence agencies, built upon it. So every intelligence agency invents a way to manage information. And at the forefront is espionage and spying, which is a secret method through which information is gathered from the source. It goes far, even to the point of planting a spy within the enemy's ranks. Or you can recruit almost anyone from them. And so it continues, going only with developments. And at the beginning of the 30s of the last century, everyone was shocked by a method of gathering information they did not expect in that period. Hitler was at the head of power in Germany, and his Nazi party had a secret plan to reform and rearm the army and circumvent the Treaty of Versailles. But at the time they were doing this, they were shocked by the publication of a book by the German journalist living in Switzerland, Berthold Jacob. This book mentioned details of the German army, the units, the brigades, where they are located, and the names of the leaders at the head of all the battalions. Hitler was shocked, ignited with anger, and demanded that his intelligence bring him this journalist by any means, so he could find out from him how he obtained this huge amount of information. And indeed, they kidnapped that Jakob from Switzerland and brought him in a special plane to Berlin. He was shocked when he found himself not handcuffed in the office of that monster, surrounded by his guards. They asked him, "Where did you get the information in the book?" And here was the surprise. The journalist did not have any connection to any intelligence agency. All the complete information in the book he took from the newspapers published in Germany, and precisely from the obituary page. You read, for example, "The wife of General so-and-so," like this. A new method of information gathering entered the world of intelligence, and a new branch was created called open source information. This branch collects information from newspapers, periodicals, economic decisions, and other information circulating in the world. This information, people look at it with normal eyes, but intelligence agencies read it with intelligence eyes. Since that incident that happened to that journalist in Germany, not a single news of the death of a soldier in the newspaper appears without details about his comrades, his brigade, or where he was. Everything is monitored. Without a doubt, the danger of information published in the world increases. With time, the art of espionage and spying develops, changes, and discards what is no longer useful, and new methods come. Perhaps failure makes this art develop more and faster, because in the world of intelligence, the success of a method often remains a secret for a long time, while exposure does its job. Information in the art of spying is like a big puzzle game. Every piece has great importance, no matter how small. If you want to have the complete picture, you must have every piece of information. It is difficult to reach some dangerous information, almost impossible. That is why the service must be done by secret and non-traditional means to manage them. And this is what we call espionage, meaning managing information secretly. The value of obtaining information secretly is manifested in the ignorance of your enemy that you are leading the news. Otherwise, the information will lose its value. For example, your enemy works with a code, and you manage to get the key to it. The value of the key is manifested in the ignorance of your enemy that you have obtained it. But if the news gets out, he will change the code or the key, and the information you have no longer has any value. Espionage is a science and an art. The science you can find in books, encyclopedias, and the internet. But the art is a talent, creativity, and innovation. The history of espionage is a school in the art of collecting secret information by methods that involve intelligence, creativity. The technology we have now, in all its forms, is only capable of monitoring the obvious things. For example, satellites can monitor your house and the fine details of your things, but they cannot detect what you are hiding inside you. I still remember how Saddam Hussein was sold. With all the advanced technology they have, they were able to know the color of the clothes Saddam was wearing. But even with all that, their technology could not find Saddam when he disappeared. And the human factor, the agent, was the one behind where he was hiding. Perhaps he remained hidden there. To this day, I still remember even their first strike on Iraq at the beginning of the 90s. The planes bombed many targets that their advanced technology had detected. But later they found out that they were just decoys, not real people. America lost missiles worth millions of dollars to bomb them. And if they had had one spy on the ground, he would have revealed the truth to them and directed their missiles to the correct targets. So, technology is an important factor that helps, but it is not everything. The main factor we must understand is the spy.
The word spy means a traitor who snoops among a group of people secretly. What makes him reveal their secrets and transfer them to the side he works for? We can call him an agent or an informant in colloquial language. Although the two words only approximate the meaning, they do not fully encompass it. There are many types of spies, each with a role and importance according to his capabilities and the place where he is embedded. There is, for example, the internal spy. This one belongs to the enemy side, and they recruit him, so he betrays the side he belongs to and transfers the secrets of the side that recruited him. All countries in the world deal with this type as the dirtiest of all spies, and the least one you can trust. Because the spy who betrays his country for the interests of the enemies, this is a person you cannot trust in his loyalty to any side. So when intelligence recruits someone, they study him well to determine his type first. Then they try to find a way to control him, and thus keep him always on the line so he doesn't lean towards any other side. This type of spy is caught in the net in many ways. The first one is the temptation of money. There are greedy people whom if you put a large sum of money in front of them, they betray their country. And this is the biggest motive that makes some son of a bitch become an agent. Then comes the second method, which is sex. And this is not only a pure motive, but also a chosen means to control the spy and dominate him. You can photograph him and keep holding videos over him. He remains at your mercy, fearing exposure. After sex comes ideology, and what is meant here is not religion but sectarian, intellectual or ideological affiliation. The history of espionage is full of this type of spy, who betrayed their country because they believed in the enemy's ideology. The most prominent example of this is the Deputy Director of British Intelligence, who was exposed as a spy for the Soviets since World War II, because he was convinced of communist thought. Then comes hatred of the regime as a main motive. It makes some people rush into the embrace of the enemy as a... Recruiting a spy is a complex process. Every step in it requires great accuracy. What if he turns against you? That one you wanted to recruit. The bomb. And instead of working for you, he reports what you are doing. So, in the first stage of the recruitment process, what does intelligence do? They plant a spy among a group of people they are targeting, and often this is an old spy from the same environment. It's easy for him to mix with the people there, blend in with them, make friends with them, and gain their trust. This spy is often that traitor that people say, "May God bless his home," a dervish, who doesn't get into any conflicts. One of the most important characteristics of a spy is that he does not get into any discussion about politics, religion, not even sports, or any topic that might provoke anyone from the group. This type of spy is called the sifter. From its name, the meaning will become clear to you. Intelligence trains him well for the purpose of sifting through everyone present in the perimeter where he works, anyone who has any connection with them, and he identifies those who have good motives and clear points of weakness, absent principles, and puts them on a list of those who can serve the interests of another state. And this is not an easy task. You might find next to you someone dissatisfied with the state and the ruling system and the laws. But even with all that, he is not the profile of someone who will betray his country, no matter how much you give him or how you change him. And the opposite of this exists. You find him silent, not complaining about anything, but the motives that make him betray the country are many. He might be suffering just from poverty. He starts borrowing from anyone he knows, can't pay them back,
Credits accumulate against him, and people turn against him. There is no one who will give him even a rial. He becomes capable of letting the devil into his head if he could clear his credits and rest. And this is just one example of the motives that this sifter spy can monitor. So the sifter spy isolates elements that seem suitable and ready for recruitment. He tries to get close to them, to socialize with them to gain their trust. He can help them with something, especially material matters, or involve them in some dangerous matters to ensure their fall into the net. But his mission is limited only to this. He is not the one who carries out the recruitment process. He only sends information about the elements candidate for recruitment to the agency that employs him. Here, the agency studies those elements and the information the sifter sent, and the technical and psychological departments analyze all the details to refine that list of names. They focus on who among them is suitable and discard the rest. They determine the way they can control him. And here they inform the sifter. They tell him that a high-ranking case officer is coming to make the selection of this good element. So he arranges some meeting between the expert officer and the element they want to recruit. And this is usually the last task of the sifter spy as he exits the picture. That expert officer takes over the task, supported by reports from the technical departments, revolving around the personality of the element they want to recruit, his points of weakness, and the ways to make him fall. Little by little, the expert begins to present the idea of working for the agency to the element they are targeting. Sometime after he meets with him and confirms that he is suitable for recruitment. The offer is not direct and heavy at first. It starts as a small offer that doesn't harm his country, neither closely nor distantly. And like this, they make him fall little by little into the net. They satisfy his points of weakness. The ambition he has, they lead him to it until his hope and dream become linked to that offer. He might start by the expert giving him money to get out of a tight spot, or to raise his standard of living. Luxury is addictive to an easy life. Money coming in without work. At this moment, the expert disappears on a pretext. He ensures that the element has become attached to him and the money they are drowning him with. Then the expert remains absent for a long time, until that element is in trouble and starts to feel that his hope and dreams have evaporated. The fear of the idea of returning to his tight spot takes hold of him, especially after he has experienced the life of luxury and easy money. Here he becomes ready to do anything at any cost to return to that life that flew away with the absence. The expert, at the moment the technical department decides that the decisive time has come, reappears again. He extends the thread to that desperate, lost element and pulls that friend into the thread, desperate, as if clinging to life. And here begins the process of recruitment and the betrayal of the country. That element is convinced, without realizing it, that the game of espionage is recorded against him with documents that corner him so he cannot escape or retreat when the moment of confrontation comes. Let's move now to another type of spy, very important and dangerous at the same time, which is the planted spy. This one comes from his country to live in the enemy's country. He impersonates a character and becomes like a son of the country. You can't distinguish him from the people, and he can reach a high position in that country. Like this, it becomes easy for him to obtain dangerous information, or recruit other people, or run an entire spy network. And this type has his loyalty guaranteed to his country because he belongs to you, not to your enemy. One of the most famous successful planting operations among the Arabs and in North Africa is the operation of Raafat Al-Haggan. known as Raafat Al-Haggan. As you know from the series, this Raafat was a traitor who was just a lost man in Egypt, a swindler who practiced 7 crafts and had a lost livelihood. He impersonated so many characters. Even to his family, he was a failed fraudster. One time he impersonated a character and was caught at the border between Egypt and Libya. And at that time, the Egyptian intelligence apparatus was not yet established. So when Raafat fell into the hands of the police, Officer Abdel Fattah paid attention to the talent Raafat had for playing with personalities. So they worked with him at first as a spy on the Jews living in Alexandria. The character of a Jew with a Cypriot mother and a Swiss father. He worked in a well-known surveillance company and started going to the synagogue and relaxing in the cafe on the Corniche where the Jews hung out. He was entering the market, his head held high, not bowing to anyone. And they were the ones who wanted to get to know him and hang out with him. And Raafat al-Jamal completed his mission successfully and obtained Israeli citizenship. He died in his bed after a long illness. The planted spy is the spy who needs the most intense training and a real talent that allows him to last in the place where they will plant him. They train him specially so he can live in the midst of the enemy without anyone suspecting him. The day he sets foot in the enemy's land, he goes through necessary stages to make his place. He starts with the stage of the sleeper spy until he becomes the resident spy. In the beginning, when the spy arrives in a new land, he is called the sleeper spy. This means that the spy does not carry out any espionage activity, for whatever reason, so he doesn't get exposed or caught. He can go far away, and sometimes he reports to the authorities without doubt about someone watching him, or he reports any attempted recruitment, just as any honest citizen in the country would do. The purpose of this stage is for the spy to plant his roots in the ground well, in a natural way, without any visible connection from the outside or contact with the intelligence agency that tasked him. He must pass through all the inspections and obstacles in his path, and suffer like any ordinary person, and not be stiff in socializing with people. Things must go normally, and if he comes across a secret, he must turn a blind eye to it, even if it reaches a great danger and sensitivity, because it is highly probable that this secret was placed in front of him on purpose to test his loyalty and affiliation. The stage of the sleeper spy is not limited by a specific duration. The natural circumstances that govern it and the spy's ability to adapt to the new society dictate it. When the appropriate moment comes, intelligence converts the spy from a sleeper spy to the stage of the active spy. Intelligence, when it is convinced that this spy has integrated completely into the new society. No one is watching him, no suspicions, nothing, and he has no dispute with any party, sends him a signal that he must activate his activity. This signal is something normal, containing no hidden or secret message, so as not to raise suspicions. They send him, for example, he leaves it, for example, in what is called a dead drop, meaning he goes to a certain restaurant at a specific time, enters the toilets, and leaves the information in a place they agreed upon there, and leaves. Afterwards, a traitor enters the toilets. Often they don't know the spy, takes that information, and leaves without them meeting. This information was useful for the agency in dealing with the enemy. This spy becomes active. Intelligence trusts him, and he starts transferring information in a new way, which is called the clandestine meeting. He meets with another spy and gives him the information directly, in limited times, and in a way that is different each time. And this is the beginning of the new training that will raise his rank in the world of espionage. This was a glimpse into the art of espionage and its methods. There is still much more to be said. If the opportunity arises, I will give you more of the poem. I hope you liked this, and you are always welcome. And this is what it was, my brothers. Goodbye.